know.
tea.
Oh, thank you so much.
I'm like an old grandmother at heart.
No, I love
That's my
it.
aesthetic.
I feel so welcomed. Yeah, so thank you for letting me into your home and meeting Finn. I'm not sure if Finn will make it into the video,
I
but
know.
he's here
Some way.
with us. Yeah, can you tell us who Daniel is?
Oh my gosh. Like what I said earlier, I'm a grandmother at heart. I kind of love it, that aesthetic, but then I have all kinds of other sides to me. Grew up in East Coast Canada, and well, growing up I was really keen, so I would do like university full-time and work full-time and volunteer at 2 different places. I don't have that energy anymore, but I used to be like very keen like that growing up.
What did you study in college?
I did psychology and I did teaching English as a second language degree, and I had a minor in Native Studies and French literature. So I did a few things. So I'm half French, Canadian. Acadien is the type of French because we're next to Quebec, but there's Quebecois, Acadien, and there's like other types of French in Canada. So I'm half French and half English. Yeah, growing up I did karate, curling, baseball, like all kinds of different things, and then after graduating university for the second time, I moved to Japan. And then I just started working here in 2006.
So you have a vase here. Can you tell us more about this vase?
This is I like the color, but it's a kind of a typical vase rectangular shape. It's called moribana, which is when you use kenzan. Yeah, it's a needle point basically, and it's called kenzan. And that's used for moribana arrangements, which is these kind of vases, like round or different flat ones. Looking at what was available at the flower shop and my feeling, I decided to do the moribana. And these flowers here, they work fresh and dry, and they're pretty good. And they're really good at creating mass, so putting like bunches of flowers together, but creating kind of an elegant line. So yeah, that's what I thought when I was at the flower shop.
I only understood like
Sorry.
but that's why we're here to learn.
Yeah. One of the principles of Ikebana from the guy who started it is like one flower, one leaf, one branch, which just kind of talks about minimalism and just using only what you need to use, not like going over the top. So it's very different from Western arrangement. It can be super minimalistic, or it can be, really big and grand. It just really depends on the purpose you want. I really want to try and bring life into each arrangement, because it's a really reflection on yourself as well. Because you want to you want to check in with your feelings, see how things are going, reflect on current events. So for Sogetsu, it's very expressive. It's not just practicing in one form of making flowers. It's really just using your imagination to keep those principles in mind. So Ikebana basically started with Buddhist priests. They would make flowers for Buddha and decorate their temples. And then eventually, kind of like the merchant class, they learned how to do it. And then after the merchant class did it and it became very popular, they started teaching other people where it became more common. So it went from like the priesthood to like the rich merchants, and then to eventually to people. And then they started making Ikebana everywhere, anywhere. One of the cool things about Sogetsu Ikebana is you can use any material, any container. So for example, I want to use the teapot, I could use the teapot to make flowers, teacup. I've seen some people who use like Spam cans, beer cans and stuff. So you can do the Ikebana any container.
How would you explain, like in your own words, what is Ikebana?
Well, I think that Ikebana is, at least with my experience with Sogetsu, it's an expression of yourself, your feelings, yourself. So you really have to check in with yourself and see like how are you feeling. That's really going to affect how you think about an arrangement. So I think that it's an expression of yourself, but also what you make and means to you.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the things about Ikebana arrangements, they don't have to be beautiful. As long as you're keeping the the principles of Ikebana, like line, space, color, surface. Like there's all kinds of rules and principles. As long as you make something technically amazing, it doesn't have to be pretty, which is not really a common idea in the Western world.
So can you tell us why you chose these colors?
I knew I had this color vase at home, and that these colors complement that vase.
Oh, wow.
And then also pink and purple complement each other, and then it's a very nice color for spring. So,
Wait, what are these flowers called?
the technical name I forget, something like Starchia, but sea lavender.
Alright, so what are you doing now?
Right now, I am just looking at it and seeing if there's any spaces to fill, but also looking at flowers that are not kind of out of place, not helping the shape of the arrangement. So right now it's kind of going in this direction.
What are you supposed to be thinking about at this stage?
Having that reflection, you stand back, you take a look, ask yourself, is this following like the goal that you set out? What can you change?
It's almost analytical.
Yeah, it is in a way, that part of reflection, definitely. Alright, and now that I cut this flower, I'm just like, cut it a little shorter. I think you're gonna actually take it and add it in here to fill this space to create more of a shape. So you're right, there is a lot of analysis to it.
Well, yeah, I guess it depends on the artist. Yeah, how their mind works when they see something like
Yeah,
this.
and I think while I felt like a deep connection with Ikebana, the artistic eye of it is not something that comes naturally to me at all. It's a lot of hard work. And again, it's something I'm always continuing to improve and work on. There's some people who do have that, like that natural eye, and I can't help to, sometimes feeling a little jealous when they just, people just join and they're like, oh, I'm gonna make this beautiful like thing in my head, and I was like, oh, I wish I had that. So, but I mean, everyone's taking their own journey. That's what this is about. It's not about anyone else. It's about your own journey with Ikebana and what it means to you.
Alright, so this is the final arrangement. Can you describe really quick how you thought about the kalali?
Because the kalali has a really long stem, a beautiful green one, it makes for a great material to use, to show off a line and to create that space. So we have the space here, and then there's a space between the water and the flowers. And that's basically it.
Does it have a name?
Not at the second.
I don't know why I asked that. It doesn't name it.
No, actually I do usually name the arrangements, but I have to like sit and look at it for a little while and reflect how I was feeling. But at this moment, no.
Okay, thank you so much for doing this for my video. Where can we find you?
The best place to contact me at the moment is my Instagram account, which is Rogue Harper. I'm not going to spell that for you, but
I'll have it in the description.
So that's the best place to contact me for the moment.
Alright, thank you. Alright, so yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. See you.
Bye. Okay.